Greetings. My friends call me Rick. You may as well also. In the last episode, I promised you all a genuinely original and unique cosmology model, a little peek into my personal grimoire, as it were. And there's nothing more original or unique than boldly and successfully exploring where no man has dared to even guess yet. This model will start at one of the beginnings, a Big Bang -1. So you all might want to fasten your seatbelts. The next 10 minutes will rock everyone's worlds. And as usual, light 'em if you got 'em. Symbiotic Cyclical Binary Cosmology Model 2026 Statement. Number 1. Gravity is the binary polarity between absolute nothing and impossible everything. Number 2. Time is the relative metronome of an individual expression. Number 3. Impedance equals 0 before Genesis. Non-electrical. Converts to 1 at lambda, electrical. Light is born. Number 4. Entropy is reality's vault. Number 5. Corporeal reality is only on loan. Number 6. Dark energy is false. Number 7. Neutron is false. Number 8. Subatomic structure is toroidal, not orbital. Number 9. Nothing atomically active can fit into entropy. Number 10. Universe expansion is sympathetic and centripetal. It is a ballast adjustment, not an explosive force at all. Fundamental binary polarity. In the pre-manifest state, the sub-zero subatomic domain, existence is defined by pure entropic positive potential. There is no movement, no resistance, no friction, no time, no poles, only the latent charge of potential, existing as infinitely stacked fields in a genuine oppositional lambda void of zero impedance. Casual alignment. As these fields infer each other, orientations are voluntarily established. This is the first non-intent choice of the system, the moment where random potentials begin to find their binary bias. Polarity Cascade. The alignments trigger a chain reaction. Like falling rows of dominoes, the new bias spreads through the fields, converting raw potential into structured binary polarities. Sympathetic congregation. Individual units lose their isolation and aggregate into cohesive polarities. This is the gathering of the fields before the movement, the formation of the structure that will soon undergo spontaneous acceleration. Rotational genesis. Energy is introduced into the congregated fields, not as an outside influence, but as a consequence of charged fields in a zero impedance condition. The system begins to spin without initial inertia, without loss or restraint, marking the transition from static potential into kinetic activity. Toroidal threshold. The rotation organizes into a toroidal field. This is the optimal geometry for containing extreme energy. The system is now a self-sustaining engine, accelerating toward the physical limits of its own containment. Vmax. Explosive acceleration. The spin immediately enters a runaway state. In this frictionless environment, velocity climbs exponentially. The toroid stretches to its maximum tension as the system approaches the absolute speed of its current field. Zero impedance. The system quickly hits the limit. The velocity, Vmax, reaches the exact point where the zero impedance state can no longer maintain containment. This is the full capacity state, the moment before failure occurs. Newtonian Genesis. The threshold is violated at Vmax plus 1. This initial fracture triggers a ballistic lambda, converting zero impedance to impedance equals 1. As potential is shed into the contaminated lambda void, it retards entropy's runaway engine. Its warm-up and unfolding create further torsion drag. The consequence is a rotational expression of reality. The failure is actually a perfect binary resolution to a self-perpetuating system. The harder entropy tries to spin, the further the ballast is cast outward to compensate. Credential number 1. Defined pre-physical substrate. Model resolves the failure of cosmology and metaphysics to define a coherent pre-manifest domain. Model provides a fully specified zero impedance substrate with explicit properties, eliminating the undefined initial condition problem. Credential number 2. Mechanism for polarity emergence. Model resolves the failure to explain how binary polarity arises from symmetry. Model derives polarity from field inference, alignment, and cascade, establishing a continuous causal path from isotropy to binary structure. Credential number 3. Origin of motion. Model resolves the failure to explain how motion begins in a static substrate. Model shows that rotation emerges naturally from charged fields in a zero impedance environment without external energy or initial inertia. Credential number 4. Origin of time. Model resolves the failure to explain why time exists or how it begins. Model defines time as a consequence of impedance at 1, arising only after the Vmax plus 1 fracture introduces drag and torsion. Credential number 5. Universal toroid geometry. Model resolves the failure to explain why toroidal structures appear across physical systems. Model demonstrates that toroidal geometry is the only stable containment for runaway rotation in zero impedance, making it a necessary, not incidental, form. Credential number 6. Defined acceleration limit, Vmax. Model resolves the failure to explain why maximum velocity exists or what determines it. Model identifies Vmax as the containment limit of a zero impedance toroidal field, not an arbitrary constant. Credential number 7. Origin of resistance and drag. Model resolves the failure to explain why resistance exists in a universe that began frictionless. Model shows that drag emerges from the impedance transition 0 to 1 as potential is shed into a contaminated lambda void. Credential number 8. Emergence of Newtonian behavior. Model resolves the failure to explain why classical physics appears at all. Model derives Newtonian behavior as a failure mode of the toroidal system, produced by torsion drag and ballistic lambda dynamics. Credential number 9. Continuous causal chain. Model resolves the failure of existing models to connect pre-physical and physical states without gaps. Model provides an unbroken causal sequence from pure potential to manifest reality with no undefined transitions. Credential number 10. Defined observer frame. Model resolves the failure to specify the vantage point from which the system is described. Model encodes a stable observational frame through consistent rotation direction, preventing interpretive inversion. Credential number 11. Ontological closure. Model resolves the failure of most systems to avoid external dependencies. This model constructs a fully closed ontology requiring no external energy, agents, laws, or initial conditions. Credential number 12. Minimal, non-redundant architecture. Model resolves the failure of metaphysical systems to avoid unnecessary complexity. This model achieves maximal explanatory power with minimal primitives and transitions, satisfying formal criteria for ontological elegance. Well, class, that concludes Volume 1 of my symbiotic binary cosmology model, or the Omega Alpha point. I do hope that this has informed and inspired someone. Personally, I can't wait to see what all this compels others to finally notice, and still others to finally measure correctly. It's time again for you all to freely discuss this among yourselves a while. I will see you all again for the next volume. Class dismissed.